a typewriter slash narrator slash writer, and basically they are given a prompt to write some sort of story of any genre. And while they're typing and narrating the story, there's going to be a set of 3 actors who are going to be, without words, acting out the scene of what the typewriter slash narrator is saying, and they basically just have to go with whatever the typewriter is saying, even if that means they have to go back or change something. They basically just have to go with what they're saying. Yeah, do we want to do like a demonstration round or something?
Yeah.
I'll do it too.
I'll ask.
He's gonna type.
I'll type.
He's gonna
Okay.
type.
Here I go. I'm at my typewriter.
Alright.
Are we ready for this? Do we
All
want a
right.
prompt, or is it just me totally like going crazy?
You get like a simple prompt, like whether it's like a genre or just something that happens in the story that you go off of. So, what's the kind of story you guys would love to hear about?
Horror.
Horror?
Bad horror.
Horror.
Horror
A horror story?
A horse.
Okay, so how about a really bad horror novel?
Horror.
Horror.
Scary.
Horror.
Why can't it be a horror story?
Okay.
Okay.
We're not gonna click on it. Alright.
Here we go.
Once upon a time, there was a handsome young man who worked at Taco Bell. He was working the drive-thru that night on the right side of the stage. Enter. His manager, Sydney, came up to him and asked him, "What are you doing today?"
What are you doing today?
He replied,
No, you don't have to talk. You don't talk.
Okay. He replied, "Oh, just working, but I thought that was obvious." Enter. She replied, "Ha, yeah, you're always saying stuff like that, you silly nincompoop." Enter. "I'm gonna go wash the counter over there." When suddenly, Ashley was pulling up in her pink convertible. Vroom went the car when suddenly it ran out of gas. But then a seagull flew by and bit her ear. But it also had some gas and it fell into the tank. She was able to pull forward to the thing to order her food. That was pretty scary for her and jump scare. Okay, so then Anthony is like, "Hey, so what can I get you out there? Welcome to Taco Bell. What do you want?" And she's like, "Oh, well, I was hoping that I could get a taco and maybe another taco. So 2 tacos." And he's like, "Oh, great, yeah, because we got tacos here, man. That's going to be so good. But let me just send it on over to Sydney in the back. She'd cook it up for you." And Ashley said, "Okay, great." And then the speaker went really loud in her ear and she jumped a little bit and that spooked her. Okay, so then Anthony was like, "Oh, sorry about that. The machine's been on the fritz recently, but if you could just pull ahead to the first window, I'll go ahead and take your money." It said $12.50. Enter. Then Sydney was in the back, she was reading the screen, when suddenly a scary picture popped up, boom! And she got really scared. Oh my gosh, she took a couple breaths because that was super scary. But she also was able to put the tacos in time. Now they were being cooked, and she was making sure they were all nice and good, and got seasoning in there. And she wrapped them up real good and tied the paper, and got a paper cut! Ow! Oh no, she's bleeding everywhere! But then Anthony ran up with a Band-Aid and wrapped it around there and cleaned it up real good, first aid. Good thing, it was all safe, and the food didn't get any blood on it. So while Anthony was mopping up the blood on the floor, though, Sydney brought the food on over. Ashley was like, "Here's my card, and I gotta pay for it." And Sydney was like, "All right, total was $12.45, right?" And Ashley was like, "Well, actually, it was $12.50, but I'm not gonna say anything, but that's okay." And Sydney swiped the card and was like, "Boop," and it was declined. Ashley was super scared. What happened? Where did I spend it? I haven't been keeping track of my bank account for the past 4 years, but that doesn't matter. I should have money in there, right? Right? "Swipe it again," she said. Sydney said, "Okay, you don't have to yell at me." Swipe, and this time it worked. So then she wasn't scared anymore. So now, go ahead and pull on the second window. Anthony was done mopping and was able to grab the food, bring it on up to the second window, and deposit it in Ashley's car. "There you go, have a nice day," he said. Then Ashley was like, great, I'm gonna pull up on out of here and go to the stop sign. And at the stop sign, she decided to check her bag. And inside, there was no hot sauce.